Welcome to Ecotopia U Media. I'm Melissa McGinnis, your host today, joined by my co-host Tom Wright. We also have a very special guest, Jack Dubel. We're at the National Zero Waste Business Conference here in Los Angeles, and it's great to meet you.
Yeah, nice to be here.
So I hear you have been recycling since you were a boy.
Yeah, right. I think the Boy Scouts introduced us to early appreciation of nature in Colorado. We would collect bottles and cans, sell them to fund our 50-mile scout hikes through the summer. Our scoutmaster, who surveyed a lot of the state, gave us a special appreciation. Turned out he was an environmental officer at the Rocky Flats nuclear weapons plant. And with Dow coined the term, life is fragile, handle with care. And so in that position at that plant, he still had a deep appreciation of the environment, and he instilled that in many of us.
That's
so
wonderful.
It was a natural step to move on to express that academically at the University of Colorado in Boulder, and then after graduation, where they offered me a state personnel position, and I've held that ever since. It's the only job I've ever had right out of college.
Wonderful.
I think I took a semester off.
Wonderful.
Before I jumped into what's now been a 30-year odyssey.
So what do you do in your position?
Wear many hats, of course, although my primary focus is on program development, meaning finding new programs to recycle new materials, finding ways to institutionally reduce the amount of waste that is generated, and reuse some of the valuable materials we're getting off of a college campus, whether or not when the students move out of the dormitories, residence halls, we don't call them dormitories anymore. In the spring, at the end of the spring semester, they generate copious amounts of really valuable materials that we're able to get to developing nations and disadvantaged populations around our own country.
Oh, really?
Through our reusables drives. The electronics that a typical university generates because of the obsolescence and the rapid development of computing technology gives great opportunity to get those computers to disadvantaged youth in inner cities around the country who face a digital divide, who have relative inaccess to computing technology, and that prevents them in many ways from going to college, from joining, right. Yeah. And so our Computers to Youth effort takes those surplus computers, pairs them with college student mentors, often first generation themselves, builds the computer that they take home at the end of the day, and then we track their progress, bridging the digital divide towards college or other meaningful activities in their adulthood.
That's fantastic.
It's really one of the most gratifying things we do.
That's fascinating.
This not the old adage of one person's trash is another's treasure brings real active meaning to those when we do things like that, when we're able to take the largesse of a modern society and then get that to people who otherwise wouldn't be able to get it.
Is there anything in particular, success-wise, that surprised you in the last 20 years? Anything in particular that went, oh my goodness, we just accomplished that?
Yeah, we oftentimes don't recognize those successes sometimes because we're rushing to the next one, and by the time most people find out, that was a success that we already scored and we're moving on to another one. Yeah, certainly on an institutional level, the rapid commitment to sustainability that higher education is showing right now. Over 800 college and university presidents, for instance, have signed the president's climate commitment, pledging net neutrality or carbon neutrality at their institution by date certain. And so we never thought that we'd have that kind of institutional commitment that quickly from that high a level. And so when you get that kind of institutional commitment, much like you do in the military, for instance, if it's a command and control structure of communication and decision making and program development, you can make very rapid progress. So when you get a top-down directive like our president does at the University of Colorado, pledging us to reach zero waste by 2020, for instance, effectively doubling what we're doing now, we can make, I'm confident that we're going to continue to make really good progress.
The leaders of, the collegiate level is usually the one leading the way for any kind of new movement.
It's another thing that I'm becoming very excited about, and that I hate to typecast any one group, although I'm the last year of the baby boom. It's the millennial generation that are now have been moving through college and are still arriving. It's 27% of the population, 3 million more already than the baby boom population, that are actively attuned through social media and what we're calling brand nation or brand loyalty. And so that's making rapid progress and success in swaying consumer goods and services with their purchasing power. So we're seeing very rapid familiarization with the old concept, using your dollar as your vote. And so the millennials of today offer great hope and great promise. And it gets me out of bed every morning to go to work on a college campus, enabling these youth to make a difference with their degree.
Melissa and I have always sort of an inquiry around food service packaging. Anything in particular you find University of Colorado Boulder doing in terms of food service packaging that you feel is forward-thinking or insightful?
Sure. Moving to trayless dining, for instance, just allowing residence hall cafeteria students to take plates instead of a big tray not only helps reduce the freshman 15 or the weight gain that a lot of college kids get, but it really does reduce the amount of food waste. And some of the statistics I see are very alarming about how much waste is generated per meal in the United States and on a college campus. So advanced portion control, a lot of emphasis on good food, wholesome food, locally sourced food for a university. The university investing in its own food supply system through greenhouses or in-vessel composting systems, creating really rich soil for local gardening projects, using garden plots as living laboratories, both for our students' academic work, but also institutional food service, meeting
So if you're a
the
student at the
demands.
University of Colorado, you can learn how to do greenhouse?
Yep, there are a number of greenhouses on campus. We're funding those projects all the time.
So this is sort of year-round salad veggies? I'm just trying to...
Right.
Okay.
Hydroponics.
I think you could call it hydroponics. The ones that we're investing in now are vertical terraces
Yes.
of,
Okay, I know
of
this.
foods, and I believe that their nutrients are delivered with
Drip,
water.
it's a drip, yes.
Yep.
I mean, to me, it seems like a really efficient way to get water and nutrients to a growing species, when not waste water.
Back in the Scouts, it was easy to understand the protection of the environment because you could see how fragile it was, see how important it was to protect the environment, how sensitive a stream was, how easily a forest is ravaged by careless fire. Food systems at the university or microcosm were an example of that. Students can really see and feel what it's like to be part of the food web
Yes.
as producers, consumers, composters, and that awareness, the sensitivity is an exciting part.
Do you ever hear sort of the student that has the epiphany of like, gee, I never knew how this was done, and now I'm
Yep.
just happy as
Well,
hell?
a student that answers the question with certainty that their water comes from the tap, then begins realizing the watershed and the water systems that deliver the food, that can grow the food, that then now they begin thinking more holistically. And they do have an epiphany. They can touch something that is now obvious to them. It's transformative.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's such a beautiful place. For people who haven't been to Boulder, Colorado, it is one of the most...
And it's a beautiful story. For those who have not made it out to the university, do you have like a sustainability chapter on your website that people can go and learn from you?
Sure. The Environmental Center is the hub of most sustainability work at the University of Colorado in Boulder. And that is accessible from our website, which is www.ecenter.colorado/colorado.edu. And yeah, there's a portal to academic work, operational work, community involvement and activism, a variety of platforms that you can take. There's self-guided tours of the different sustainability features on campus in Boulder.
That's exciting. I would definitely suggest to our viewers to check that out. But I've learned so much just sitting here a couple
Happy to
minutes with
host
you.
you. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your
Come on
time
up.
today and for your work.
Thank you.